Amitabh Bachchan, welcome to this special show on CNN IBN.
Thank you so much, Rajeev.
Mr. Bachchan, your new film Buddha Hoga Tera Baap is being described as a return of the angry old man. Now, so many of your fans and your directors too have been longing for the return of the angry young man. Have you missed him just as much as your fans have?
Well, now that you say it, I do reflect back on it, and I reflect back on the days that I was shooting this film. And I do feel excited about doing things which I hadn't done for almost 30 years.
Right.
So in a sense, yes, I feel happy doing these things, having those one-liners and punching a few guys and, being a little bit of arrogant and being a little explosive in whatever situation I'm put into, and dressing up a little flamboyantly and, having a kind of a edgy attitude. It's been fun. I've liked it.
क्या बोला तू?
चुपचाप पीछे जाओ, लाइन में खड़े रहो यार।
हम जहाँ खड़े हो जाते हैं लाइन वहीं से शुरू होती है। थोड़े सारे नियम तोड़े, थोड़े थोड़े सर्दी फोड़े, चूहे बनके दुश्मन दौड़े, बुड्ढा होगा तेरा बाप।
ए बुड्ढे,
स्कूल का मैं स्कूल हूँ।
अरे देख भी सकता ही कि नहीं?
जिप खुला है तेरा, बंद कर।
In a sense, this seems like a throwback to your earlier films. The character that, in a sense, the iconic character that Salim Javed created,
Yep.
the directors that you worked with at the time, films like Diwar, films like Trishul. Do you get nostalgic?
I don't think that Buddha actually falls into that category.
Okay.
They were more serious.
Right.
They were more intense. There is a moment of intensity in Buddha Hoga Tera Baap as well, but not obviously to the same extent as you probably witnessed in Zanjeer and Diwar. But yes, this has a flavor of its own. I think it's a very healthy mix of a lot of things. It's got music, it's got dance, it's got lightheartedness, it's got, yes, a bit of action, and it's got a bit of intense drama at moments. But that's about it.
So many actors today are returning to that old-fashioned action genre. Amir did Gajni, Salman did Dabang, Ajay Devgan's doing Singham. In your own career, what have been some of the hardest stunts to do? What have been some of the more difficult action films that you did?
Yeah, any kind of stunt is always difficult, and when you talk about stunts, I always reflect back on my own accident in Kuli and say, a day before the accident, I did some really mad stuff. I jumped off a bridge onto a moving train without any help. From a moving train onto a trolley on the platform. And in one shot, that trolley moved onto a staircase that was going down, and nothing happened to me. And a simple, punch-up caused you this problem. So no stunt should ever be taken. That's something that I realized, that no stunt should be taken lightly, and they're all tough. But yes, coming back to the question, I feel that some of the facilities that were available to us in those days were very sparse, and we didn't have the kind of protection gadgetry that artists are, have now. The first time we actually found out that you cannot hurt yourself by, jumping off a cliff or a running train or from some height was in Sholay, because they brought on this technology with the foreign technicians of jumping into a cardboard box, which is so easy and no one thought about it. Then this whole question about wiring, you wear wires, and then because of digitalization you could remove the wires and so forth. So you had people, climbing up skyscrapers and Mount Everest, without any problems. But yes, the gadgetry has helped. So I think that there's far more security now as far as hurting yourself is concerned. Now,
the character that you play in Buddha has several quirks, one of which is that he wears 2 wristwatches.
There was... I did that in my real life.
Right.
Now and then I used to put on 2 watches.
And that's because the kids were in Switzerland. Is that true?
Part of that, but I thought it was pretty stylish, so I just put it on. Sometimes I wear 3. But in the film, I converted that not just as a style, but put some meaning to it also, and which will be there when you see the film.
Okay. Now, the title Buddha itself is fairly unconventional.
Yeah.
Did your grandchildren have some interesting responses?
I don't think they know as yet what it is all about, but whenever I talk to them about it, they have a smile on their face, and I hope that the audience has one as well. It was originally just called Buddha.
Right.
When Puri Jagannath, the director, came up with the concept, but when the writers sat, they thought of this tagline, which I thought was brilliant, because it's such a common adage, it's such a common phrase used in northern parts of the country to put down somebody,
That's right.
To snub him or or to retaliate in a sort of a friendly manner, not really too intense. But also, when you see the film, you will realize that it has another meaning to it.
बीप की बीप
क्या बोला?
गाली दिया मैं
कौन सी गाली? बीप की बीप?
जब भी मेरा मन गाली देने को करता है तो मैं बीप बोलता हूँ. इससे दो चीज होता है, एक तो मेरा जवान साफ रहता है और दूसरा सामने वाले की इज्जत का बीप लगता है.
The term Buddha is often used almost sort of disparagingly to put someone down, to sort of describe them as old and useless. Have you ever been at the receiving end of that word in that manner?
Yeah, many times. Sometimes you go out in public and you know, they see grey on your hair and on your beard, and you know, they're seeing you after seeing Diwar or something like that.
Right.
They say, "Hey, yaar, tu to buddha ho gaya hai." So I say, "Yeah, ek din tu bhi ho jayega yaar. Kya kare?" So it's going to happen to all of us. You can't run away from it, and I just take it in the spirit that, you know, yes, I've aged. I've always never hid my age from anyone. I've lived with this beard and my hair and whatever it is.
Right. Now, Bbuddah is the latest production out of AB Corp after Pa. With Pa, you had both success and acclaim. It was a film that was very widely received. What do you think, Mr. Bachchan, are the lessons that have been learned this time round?
The first, the primary and the ultimate lesson, control the cost and the pricing. We made Pa in 15 crores, and Abhishek decided that the moment we go a rupee over that budget, I'm going to stop the film. We decided that we would make Bbuddah in 10 crores, and we've done that. We've sold our satellite for 13.5, so our cost is covered. So at least there is some kind of a relief within us as we go into the release on the 1st of July, that at least our costs are covered. And everything else then is you know, the cream. But I think that it's very important for people in my situation, not just as a production company. I don't sell as well as I used to before.
Okay.
There are stars that are bigger than me, who demand and command a greater price, who are able to cover greater prices. So Shah Rukh and Salman and Amir and Hrithik and Ranbir now.
Only because they're sort of they're the current crop.
Whatever the reason, I'm just saying that, you know, they can afford to have large budgets, and you know, their fees probably are also pretty large. Because I cannot, I'm not given that kind of pricing. Because my standing cannot be compared with them. Therefore, we limit ourselves to a smaller budget. Also, I feel that in the end, if we are producing it and if we make money on it, then yes, the company is ours, and in a sense, that's some kind of a repayment to what you may have lost by not charging an astronomical fee.
In one of the songs in Bbuddah, they get you to wear that famous iconic suit of yours from the song Sara Zamana in Yarana. This is, of course, the famous suit with all the lights.
That's right.
Did you feel nostalgic putting that on?
Yeah.
Do you remember the good old days?
Well, it's not really in the film, but it's part of a promo that we're doing with Abhishek. Yes, there's a huge history with that.
Please tell.
I saw a picture of Robert Redford on a horse, and he had a typical cowboy jacket on, which had sparkling little bits on it. And I felt, hey, this looks very attractive. And then when we were thinking about the song, Yarana song, which was like a show, an event, a stage performance,
Right.
I spoke to the producer and the director and said, you know, what if we made this with electric bulbs,
Right.
and you lit it up? And they said, gosh, this is a terrific idea, let's do it. So we got hold of Akki Bhai in Gabbana, and he constructed this jacket and everything. And after a lot of labor, we finally were able to connect all the wires and everything, and it went down through my jacket and through my trousers, millions of wires, and then finally joined into one wire, which was then stuck onto my heel of the shoe.
Okay.
And then taken off into a distant plug and plugged into 220 volts. And when it was plugged in, the lights came on, and it looked very attractive. And so, fantastic, but how are we going to shoot this damn thing?
Right.
So the fact that we actually went and shot, there's another story to that. But it was difficult because we were in the middle of this huge Netaji Subhash Stadium
Right.
in Kolkata. And the cameras were all over, so the wires would show and we had to take the shots very carefully, not put the lights too much in it. And the plug was only available in the dressing room, which was about 200 yards away and hidden inside a room. So I used to tell them, you know, if you see me making some involuntary movements, make sure that this is not choreography, it's 220 volts going inside my system.
Right.
And
you must have been worried about being electrocuted.
Yeah, it did happen a couple of times, and so we all screamed and shouted, and you know, everyone rushed to pull the plug out. But then I stupidly put this thing as an item in one of my shows that I was doing in 1983.
Right.
And we had a revolving stage. We were performing in Madison Square Gardens in New York, and there was a revolving stage. And now, how do you work on a revolving stage with this wiring?
Right.
So the people said, "Oh, we have a device. You know, we'll just extend the wire and we'll rotate the table, and we'll rotate the cable around it.
Right.
And then when you start moving, it'll just unwind, and you'll be fine." Now, in the heat of the moment, once I went onto the stage and the crowds and shouting, I moved in the wrong direction.
Right.
So that was absolute mayhem. But and then I just, you know, got into the makeup room. That was my last performance, and I stamped on it and I said, "This is it. I'm never going to wear it again." But here we are doing it again. It was great fun. Now we have advanced technology.
I'm guessing there were no
small
wires.
little batteries and remote control, and somebody from outside is being able to give rhythm to the lights and everything. It's great fun. Yeah.
Right.